Hi developers, welcome to our channel KBS Technocrop. Today we are going to understand one of the most powerful technique in modern software development, that is test driven development or TDD. In this video we will cover everything from basic of TDD, its benefit and real world coding example using C Sharp, xUnit and MOQ. Friends, as I discussed in my previous video where we have covered introduction of unit testing, the complete series of test-driven development we are going to cover under 10 part. So today is the second part, test-driven development. Let's understand what is test-driven development. So test-driven development is a software development approach that emphasizes writing tests before the actual implementation of the code. By following a structure, test-first approach, TD helps developer to produce cleaner, more maintainable, and reliable software. In this introduction, we will explore the core principle, benefit, and practices of TDD, laying on the solid foundation for you to implement that effectively in your development project. So what is TDD? TDD basically a process. So test driven development is a process where developer write automated test cases for a specific function, feature or piece of code before writing the actual code itself. The development follow a repetitive cycle known as Red-Green-Refactor cycle, which ensure that the code meets the specific requirement and it is tested from very beginning. Okay, so what is Red-Green refactor cycle? First, you write the code without writing the actual implementation of functionality. Obviously, the test case will fail. Then, second step is make it green. That means write the code to fix the issues to pass that test cases. And the third is that you refactor or improve the code to get it passed. So if you see this flow diagram, you starting writing the test cases, then run the test case, then see the result. If it's a fail, then you make the changes to the code, again execute the test case. If it's a failed, then again refactor the code till the test get passed. If it's the current test get passed, then again go to the next test cases or next functionality or method and write the test case, make it the test case fast, and then again you refactor the code and make it that test case green. So overall it's a recursive process where it's start from writing the test cases first. Let's understand what is the benefit of TDD. So TDD provide lot of benefits. Out of that, there are few major benefits. Is that early bug detection? Early bug detection means since you are writing your test cases before you're writing your actual code, so when you are writing your actual code and run your test cases, it will not allow you to pass a test cases if your implementation is incorrect. That means your actual and expected will match, then only the test case will pass. In that case, there will be very rare chance when there is a bug in the system and you have checking the code, right? Documentation, it the documentation for unit testing serves as a documentation for your code. That means whoever is trying to understand a function, if the developer look on the test cases, right, he will be able to understand what are the input and output, what actually these functions do, and what are the different scenario which required to be tested. So the unit test also serve as a documentation for a particular function. Facilitate refactoring. So if you have written some code which is not uh, up to mark, or your test cases are getting failed, then it will force you to refactor your code. For example, you have written some code where it's a tightly coupled and dependencies be not injected properly. In that case, you will not able to write the test case, or you will not able to test everything. In that case, it will force you to refactor your code, inject your dependencies properly, so that you can test most of the functionality located in that particular class or method. Also, it's improved the code designing. When you are writing a unit test, it forces you to think about your code is structure, or sometime when you are writing a code without having the unit test, you will be writing a tightly coupled code which cannot be tested, right? So it will improve your code design because it will force you to write a loosely coupled code. So let's understand how this complete TDD process works. So we will be taking one simple scenario. So let's say consider this example is that a there is a e-commerce platform where you are having a discount calculation. In this, if there is a sales amount is below 100 rupees, then discount is 0%. If sales amount is between 100 to 500, then discount percentage 10%. If sales amount is between 501 to 1000, then it will be 20%. If sales amount is above 1000, then the discount is 30%. So calculating the discount percent is based on the total amount of sale, right? So this when you are going to follow the TDD, what we are going to do, that we are going to write first test case, and then we are going to write actual implementation of this function. To do that, what we are going to do, that we are going to create a new project. So I have just opened So I have opened Visual Studio 2022. I am going to create new and then a project, and then I will select a class library project. I'll click on next, and then I will give name as a discount calculator, right? And then I will select my folder where I want to place it, and then I will create next, create it. So under this solution, I am going to create two projects. One is for unit testing and one is for actual implementation. So this, consider this is my actual uh, class where I am going to implement it. So let me give that name also, discount calculators .cs. Okay, and I will rename it. Okay, now I will add a unit test solution. So I will add new project, and then I will type here xUnit, and then I will select a test project. So here you can see xUnit test project is there. I will select this next. I will give this project name is discount calculator test, and I will click on next, create. Right. So to understand better, what I will do, I will add the scenario what we are going to write it, so that we can understand that what requirement is there and what we are going to write the test cases for that. Okay, so I will add a comment section here just to add the scenarios, right? So I will add the requirement here, right? So this is our requirement, right? So okay, so this is our requirement where we want to write a test case for getting the discount percent, right? Based on this logic. If 0 to 100, then 0, then above 100, that means 100, 101 to 500, 10%. So first we will write a test case for first scenario when amount is less than 0 to 100, that means it's between 0 to 100. Then we will write a math test case to test that if the sale amount is between 0 to 100, then the discount percent is 0, right? To do that, we need to write a test case, right? So we are going to write a test case for 0 scenario. So we will give a scenario name is called calculate discount amount 0. So let me add the code there. let's Let me add the code here. Okay, so this is our test case, right? Where we are going to test the 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 first scenario when we our cell amount is till 100, right? 0 to 100, then the discount percent should be just 0%, right? So we need to add this project reference here. So I will add dependency, add project reference, and then we will add it. Okay, so let's build it this. So discount calculator is a class, and now we are having a discount calculator here, and then we are having unit test where new discount is there. So we need to add the reference of that namespace. Okay, and then let's add one method which basically takes this cell amount and then return the percent. So let's add that method, just a skeleton of that method. uh, Public calculate discount percent, and then we'll put decimal sale amount, and also discount percent will make it decimal, right? Okay, so we have not declared anything inside this method. We just written a skeleton of this method, and what we have done it here, we have written one test case. Now if we go to the text explorer now, and then if you run this, what will happen? This test case will get filled because the expected is 0. Okay, it's getting paused because we are returning the value 0 here. Let's say return null for time because we have not implemented, and let's say return null. That's fine. So now if you run your test case, right? So if you go on test explorer, then you run this test case, what you will see that this test case is getting failed now because that's what the TDD say, that first you write the test case which is getting failed. So now we have written the test case. Now test case getting failed. Now what we will do, we will add the now the next step is that in your actual code you do the modification to get this test case passed. That means we have to write a logic, if sales amount is between 0 to 100, then return 0. So to do that, what we are going to do, that we are going to write a definition of that method so that it will return 0 whenever a amount is between 0 to 100, right? So let me write it. So we will write that code here. If sale amount is less than 101, let's say 101, then return 0. Else we will put return uh, a return, let's say null, and I'll put it now. Okay, so now we will go again and we will write, we will try to run the test case, right? So we will go there and we will run the test cases. So we will see this test case getting passed because the actual and expected values are same. Now is expected value is 0 and the actual value is also coming 0. That means 0% of discount. Then that's how we can write the all the test cases. I have shown you demo for one test case, but actually first we need to write the test case for all this uh, requirement what we have mentioned for 100 to 1 like this, and then we will try to fix that into the actual method. So let me write the test cases for all this. So I'm going to add some code. So if let's say consider the scenario between 101 to 105, so I'll add code here. And then this if scenario is between 101 to 100, right? So if below 101, and I'm just adding this code 100, right? Okay, so like this. Okay, so the scenarios I have modified slightly. If sales amount below 101, that means 0 to 100, then 0. If 101 to 500, then 10%. 501 to 10,000, then 20%. At 1,001 to, if greater than that, then it will be 30%. So the first scenario we have tested here, and then the second scenario where amount is between 101 to 500 and 0 to 100, then it will be 0%, then it will be 10%. Similar way what we will do, right? We will add the other test cases by copying these test cases, we will paste it there. Okay, so let's 501 to 10,000, and we will add some more test cases for this. So I'm adding couple of test cases just to save the time. So I added couple of more test cases here. So let's go one by one test cases and understand. So this is for 0%. This is for 10%. Whenever amount is between 100 to 500, then it will be 10%. Then 501 to 1000 is a 20%. Then 1001 to above is a 30%, right? Uh, like this. So these are the negative scenario which we need not to add it. Let's remove this. Okay, so now we have couple of test cases. Let's go and run the test cases. So you will be able to see this. There are 5 test cases are there. Now what will happen, it will fail. So if I run it, only one test case will get passed because we have corrected that. Other than that, other test cases will get failed. So what we are going to do, that we will first walk through the test cases once again, and then we'll try to fix it, right? So the first one, we understand between 0 to 100 is a 0%. Then between 101 to 500 is a 10. So to fix that, we need to go in our calculator, and then we have to add the code here, right? If amount is less than 501, right? Less than 500, and we will add certain more condition so that it can check the range, right? So we will try to add the conditions there. So we will add that condition here. Sale amount, there is a, right? So if it's greater than 100 and less than 501, because I changed the scenario, greater than 500 and less than 1001, then 20, and rest of the time is 30. So now what I did it, by following the TDD process, I worked on my code or actual implementation to make sure that the test get passed now. So I will run this code and we will be able to see that now the test cases are getting passed. So but following TDD using this sample, what we have done it, first we have written the test cases for this requirement, right? For this requirement to calculate a discount percent for is sales based on the sales amount. So if sales amount is between 0 to 100, then it's 0%, and then 100 above than 100, then with 101 to 510%, 501 to 1020%, and 1001 to greater than that is a 30%. So we have written for each scenario, we have written, I have considered only positive scenario, I have not considered the negative scenario. You can consider negative scenario as well. So I have added 4 or 5 different test cases for each scenario which can address this requirement, right? And then I first run the test cases. I found out the test cases are getting failed. Then I went to the actual implementation. I added the actual implementation for calculating the discount percent, and then I run my test cases, and the test cases are getting passed. That's how the TDD at high level we should follow it. So first write the test case, get it failed, correct it, refactor the code, make it pass. Let's understand when to use TDD. So basically, TD is ideal for new feature development, complex logic implementation. For example, this discount percent calculation was also one kind of uh, e- complex logic. It might be depend on different kind of user, different kind of region, different kind of product. It's a very simple scenario which we have addressed it here. But this kind of scenario where you have a complex logic for some kind of calculations, right, you can use this TDD approach, right? And where high code quality essential, for example, your code quality is must be at very high level. There is no code quality issue, should be fine, and loosely coupled code should be there, and test case coverage might be some certain percent, right? In that kind of scenario we should use the test driven development, right? What are the key best practices in TDD? Write test first. The first one is first you write the test case. Sometimes the people what they do actually they write the actual code and then write the test case. That would not help you in terms of the following that TDD, right? It might help you in maintainability, right? Whenever a legacy code is there and uh, you want to maintain that code perfectly, because if someone add or modify some developer update or modify the code, they should know the complete functionality to test it. In that case, you should have the test cases ready so that, right, if anyone modify that, make sure that it does not impact any other test cases. Keep tests small and focused, because if you write a big test case, right, what will happen, right, it will be very difficult to understand also. The test case should be a small part of the test cases, or a small part of functionality should test it. It should not have the multiple uh, assert for all the functionality for which that method has been written. Refactor the code regularly. Make sure that you are refactoring your code, making test cases fast, and your test cases are hand mock and stuff. I will discuss the mock and stuff into the upcoming classes, where we will see how to mock the dependency, why do we require a mock, what is the advantage disadvantage of mock. And the fifth one is that your test cases should be automated. It should be part of that. Unit tests will be more helpful for identifying the issue when your CI/CD pipeline or your pipeline should and must be associated the test cases to be run, so that whenever anyone check it or your get it check in, whenever someone check in the code, your test case will run. And if any test case fail, it will not allow you the developer to push the code into the release branch. That's all for today. I hope you like. If you like, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.